My name is Laurie. I grew up in suburban Maryland. I did have a younger brother who passed away in 2016. In school, I was always the medicated for allergies underachiever that talked too much, and he was the brilliant one. As a little girl in the 60s, that's just it. I was a little girl in the 60s, and I was just supposed to get married and have babies, so nobody really cared. And the ADHD part, because I wasn't a boy, nobody really looked at that any kind of diagnosis for my inability to focus. So I finished high school on time and graduated in 1974, right smack in the middle of my class. Came back home and I took just about everything the local community college offered. I graduated with an Associate of Arts degree in general education. And then years later, after I moved to Richmond and went back to college at BCU, I went back and got a master's with the idea that I would advocate for older people. I wasn't sure what I was doing, but I was just so mesmerized, amazed that anybody would offer me the opportunity to go to school and recognize that I had some intellect and some ability because of the way I started off with being in an allergy haze and being the dumb kid or the slow kid. So it was a very huge personal triumph to actually complete my master's degree.
My name is Erin. I'm 44 years old and I grew up in Goochland County. So I grew up in what I saw in society as a normal household. I had my mom, my dad, and my older brother. That all changed when my mom and dad got divorced when I was 12 years old. And as we were growing up as kids, college was not talked about in the household until my brother, junior year, he started thinking about colleges, but it was not something that we sat around the dinner table and actually talked about. Now, the problem with that was his junior year, my dad was not there. So everything was still falling on my mom. So he tried his hardest and applied to different schools, actually got a scholarship, but then decided not to take it because he didn't want to leave my mom behind. And he felt like, well, we both felt like we had to continue to take care of my mom since my dad was not there to help pay the bills. I graduated in 1997, and then by May of 1998, I had been employed by Capital One. Then it was probably about a year and a half before I started going to ECPI. So as I continued, taking a class, maybe one class each semester, or maybe just one class a year, I ended up finding someone that I wanted to get married to. So that was another life kind of happening that I had made a choice that, oh, well, now I'm going to go and I'm going to get married and I'm going to start a family. And how in the world would I be able to do that and go to school? It basically took 23 years, 24 years to actually get through the entire program. Seeing my mom work so much, and also with myself starting to work at 15 to help my mother, and watching my brother support her as well, that was the path that I chose. And I felt like those were really the cards that I was dealt. I feel like also if my dad was still around, I'm not sure that I'd be where I am today and that I would have taken the same paths. Looking back through all these years, I wish I hadn't made the excuses I had, but I'm also thankful for where I am today and that I have the opportunity to continue my educational career, is what I'm calling it. So I am signed up to start my MBA program in February, and I do not plan on looking back.
I'm Kayla. I'm 18 years old, and I'm from Henrico County, Virginia. When I got to high school, I decided that I wanted to go through college with the NROTC program and then join the Navy after that as an officer. My grandma, who was my best friend and my biggest inspiration, was in the Navy when she was younger, and she made me believe that being in the Navy was possible for me to do. Within the Navy, I wanted to study environmental policy and possibly marine biology. And a senior year approach came around the corner. A lot of people asked me what I wanted to do in the future, what college I wanted to go to, things like that. When I told people I wanted to be in the Navy, a lot of people said, "Good for you." But there were a lot of guys that told me that girls were not meant to be in the Navy and that they could not see me doing something like that. The things that they said kind of made me feel doubtful for a little bit, but they also made me strive to be more motivated to do it and to prove that I really could. I trained a lot for my PT test. I studied really hard for my ASVAB because I didn't just want to pass those tests. I wanted to excel at it to show myself that I was really capable of doing that. I worked very hard for that goal, but I decided that a better option for me to pursue would be carrying out my major at VCU rather than the Navy, because I think it's better financially for me and it'll be a better option for the goals that I want to accomplish. But I think that I learned from that experience that I just have to stay true to myself, and that it doesn't matter what other people tell me, because I can do anything that I put my mind to, and I know what I'm capable of. I'm proud of who I am today, and I'm proud of who I know that I'm going to be and where I'm going to go in the next 4 years of my life, and I'm very excited.